trip to meet a woman he met online. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports attackers drove a van at high speed into pedestrians on London Bridge before stabbing people in the nearby Borough Market area of bars and restaurants on Saturday in what British authorities described as a terrorist incident. Armed police rushed to the scenes and authorities urged Londoners on Twitter to run, hide, tell if they were caught in an attack. The BBC cited police as saying there had been more than one fatality. Britain's Sun newspaper said 7 people were feared killed and that 2 attackers were shot dead by police near London Bridge, but there is no immediate confirmation of this. Some media reports said police were seeking another attacker. This attack comes just days ahead of a June 8th election and less than 2 weeks after a suicide bomber killed 22 people at a concert by U.S. singer Ariana Grande in Manchester, England. There was no immediate claim of responsibility of this attack. The BBC showed a photograph of 2 possible London attackers shot by police, one of whom had canisters strapped to his body. A Reuters reporter said sometime after the attack began that he had heard loud bangs near the Borough Market area. Witnesses described a white van veering into pedestrians near London Bridge and knocking over several people. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Overburdened with material comforts, America's wealthy can expect another disappointing holiday this year. As Brian Scott tells us, the rich will simply be buying too many things to experience the true meaning of Christmas.
All across the country, those at the top of the economic ladder are denied a privilege that the poorest of the poor take for granted. Rather than fall victim to the rampant consumerism that seems to increase each year, the poor find meaningful joy in simple Christmas traditions, like singing carols to keep warm and hugging relatives who have not yet died. At stores like these, the spiritually bereft must scramble for popular holiday toys in a vain attempt to duplicate the Christmastime happiness that the impoverished enjoy.
Poor people are grateful for just a roof over their heads or something to eat. My wife and I are both lawyers, so that's not enough for us. I certainly hope poor people don't take what they don't have for granted.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. It is Free Talk Live, live Sunday edition of the show. As always, we invite you to join us right here on the radio waves, where you can take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. Here in the studio tonight with you, it's Ian,
Johnny Ray,
and Mark.
Of course, you can bring up anything you want. That's the point of the show. We do always bring stuff to the table as well that you might find worth discussing. And it wasn't long after I got off the show last night, because we do a live Saturday show, we do a live everyday show, but we were on last night, of course, as always, and we get done with this show at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. That's shortly thereafter when I noticed the headlines about a massive attack, a mass stabbing, basically, in London. And this, of course, just following up the most recent attack in London as well, the explosion at the Ariana Grande concert. I guess that was Manchester, but in England, in Great Britain. So you had the Manchester attack, and then this one, London Bridge, where there were multiple assailants, apparently, and multiple victims. The Islamic State claiming responsibility. Story from The Telegraph, telegraph.co.uk. The Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant claimed responsibility for the London attack Sunday night, as the first victim was named as Chrissy Archibald from Canada. 7 people were killed and 48 injured in the attack on Saturday, with 21 fighting for their lives in a hospital. 12 people have been arrested in connection with the atrocity after an armed raid in East London. A further raid has also taken place in East Ham. It emerged earlier today that police fired an unprecedented 50 bullets to kill the 3 London Bridge terrorists because they believed the attackers were wearing suicide belts, according to the country's head of counterterrorism. Assistant Commissioner Mark Rowley said a member of the public also received a gunshot wound in the hail of bullets from the 8 officers. Pro-Islamic State social media users claim the London attacks were revenge for the RAF's Love from Manchester airstrike. I guess that's Royal Air Force, RAF. Yeah. According to the site Intelligence Monitoring Group, a photograph emerged last week of an RAF bomb with the message, quote, "Love from Manchester," unquote, written on it. It was on its way to strike ISIL targets in Syria. According to the site, one Twitter user posted the image and wrote, quote, "This is your merchandise, and tonight we responded." So, what do you know? Violence begets violence here. You've got the attack that happened in Manchester on the Ariana Grande concert where they, basically attacked a bunch of tween girls and their parents. And now, you have the Royal Air Force responding with love from Manchester in the form of a bomb. And now a response to that, which, of course, the attack in Manchester was probably a response to whatever various different strikes in Syria and Iraq that the military there has been involved in.
Ian, I don't know how you can possibly say that this attack and, frankly, dozens where the assailants have said over and over and over again that the reason that they do it is because of the West, England, France, the United States' intervention in the Middle East. I mean, those people aren't saying that because they mean it. They're saying it because they hate our freedoms. They hate Christianity. They've hated Christianity for 1,000 years. They're nothing but a bunch of towel-wearing camel jockeys. For God's sake, we've got to continue bombing them, and then that way they'll finally stop killing us.
Are you channeling the conservative talking
channeling stupid
points?
People who just keep on, don't even make any sense. You may or may not think that Islam is good or bad. I'll go on the record saying that I think Christianity and Islam are generally, when you weigh them out, bad.
I'd say they're about the same.
Do you call that bad?
I don't think they generally do good things overall for people.
I think that Christians and Muslims do good things. There's some really good people within those religions. But those religions in and of themselves do nothing for me. I don't like them.
I believe they were formed by people who want to control others.
Yeah, control others to fight the people they don't like, right? That's really what this comes up down to is that, one of the reasons that people get all upset about us on the air saying, oh my God, Blowback exists, is because, they've got a position, and that position is anti the other guy, and our money, our bodies, our children are necessary to be burned in this war fighting those other people. Well, I don't want anything to do with it because this war is stupid, and we know what the results are. The results are dead people. Dead people in both places. Because I can assure you,
dead innocent people.
Wherever
also.
that Love from Manchester bomb dropped, we didn't hear news story after news story after news story after news story talking about the women and children that were harmed in that killing.
Great point.
Now, you can say that, these are the ones that we care about, or this is more important, relevant news, whatever it is that you say. But, the Muslims look at this and they say, hey, we're second class. And that's fine. I mean, if you believe they're second class, that's fine. Ultimately, if you leave people alone, they will be much more likely to leave you alone.
It's the truth.
I think that Western governments, United States is really the only one that I can speak for, should get all their troops out of the Middle East. Let the Middle East come to whatever equilibrium it's going to come to. Israel will be fine, folks. Don't worry. Israel can defend itself. It's going to be okay.
If not, feel free to send them some of your own personal money.
Absolutely. Support whatever wars you want to support. There's plenty of history.
Go over there and sign up for their military.
By all means, send your children over there to fight and die for this really important event. But stop demanding my tax money. Stop suggesting that I send my child to fight for these things. No.
So we'll talk more about this terror strike in London on the bridge here in moments and what their prime minister wants to do about it. Theresa May is the prime minister over there, and she has said she wants to crack down on the internet because that's somehow going to stop people from stabbing each other? We'll get into that. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Also, Skype username is LRN.FM. We've got David. He's on the line in New Mexico. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, different points of law. Continuing, last night we were talking about, I'm trying to dredge up the conversation, but we were talking about judges, and I forget the exact context to lay it out, but you'll get it in a second. My solution, one of my solutions that I've had to the problem being discussed was that, immunity, that's what it was. Judges, police officers, frankly, you can extend it to virtually everybody in government and privately. I mean, in private life, we all have, or not we all, but many of us have licenses, insurance, bonds, etc. And our government workers should all have that exact same thing. You know, for instance, a judge in a case wouldn't need immunity, civil immunity. They don't have criminal immunity. If they commit a crime on the bench, they're liable for it just like the rest of us. Although, yes, the qualifier is we do know that they commit crimes that they get away with. But if there's clear evidence, you know, if a judge pulls out a gun and shoots somebody in the courtroom and murders them, and it's not in self-defense and it's clear, then no, they're not. They're going to be tried just like the rest of us. But on the civil side, when they make mistakes, or if they do something, you know, negligently, or which would be a mistake, or if they do it intentionally, which would be malice. Because in law, basically everything shakes out into either negligence or malice. It's one or the other. There's, you know, so or a combination of the two. But if they're licensed and bonded, insured, if they make mistakes on the bench, or if they're malicious on the bench, you can then bring a complaint on the facts of what happened. And their insurance company can decide, you know, to fight it or to pay out the damages, you know. So the judge can make the mistake, and you can still get a.
Now, isn't it true that a lot of bureaucrats are bonded?
I don't know. Let's have the bureaucrats call in and answer that.
I'm sure they're going to get right on that. Yeah, I've heard that they are bonded, but that it is very, very difficult to go after that bond. Thank you for the call tonight, David. But, you know, having government bureaucrats being more responsible for their actions, I think a lot of people would support that. A lot of people who aren't the direct family members of those government bureaucrats. I mean, I think most people, when they look at that issue, would say, yeah, that makes sense. Why shouldn't they be liable for their negligence and malice? But in a lot of cases, they're immune. 855-450-FREE. You can join us. More on the terror strike in London coming up.
Last week at Consensus 2017, a cryptocurrency conference in New York City, an agreement was made between 56 companies representing 83% of the hashing power for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is an international internet currency that has, of late, taken the tech world by storm. In the agreement, they pledged to implement segregated witness, a long-needed patch for the Bitcoin software, at 80% acceptance instead of 95%, and increase the Bitcoin block size, relieving pressure on the network and lowering prices for transactions. This compromise is supported by the former head developer of Bitcoin, Gavin Andreessen, and Bitcoin.com's Roger Ver, along with 83% of the Bitcoin miners. Some of the core developers and the influential organization Blockstream do not support it, however. Although the finish line is not yet crossed, it may be in sight, and we here at Free Talk Live, along with most of you, breathe a sigh of relief, hoping that this opens the door to the continuation of the most important piece of software since the internet. Find out more at Bitcoin.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews, here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees, no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up, too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days, free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you may join us right here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. There was a terror attack, supposedly, last night in Great Britain. ISIS is taking responsibility for it, or claiming responsibility for it, and now there's a prime minister in Great Britain who's calling for internet restrictions as a result of this. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to stop people from getting stabbed in the future, but we'll see what she has to say for herself coming up here in moments. With you tonight, it's Ian,
Johnny Ray,
and Mark.
And, of course, we invite you over at freetalklive.com. Enjoy all the features on the site there free.
You don't need money to do business on Simbi.com. It's a slick and easy-to-use marketplace where you can trade your talents for other people's services and abilities. You can forget the old economy. This is your economy. Simbi. That's S-I-M-B-I. It's like symbiotic. Simbi.com. You won't believe the diversity of services that there are on Simbi.com. Hundreds of thousands of people are acting within the symbiotic economy. Go get an account at Simbi.com, and just by getting an account, registering a service, and there's all kinds of other activities you can do to earn the currency right there on Simbi. You don't have to do an immediate trade. You can just get what you need. So if you need computer education services or accounting or voiceover work or video production, and just a whole bunch of things. You got to look at all this different stuff. Simbi.com. Take a look around and post your services. Simbi.com.
All right, let's continue with your calls and thoughts. Coming up, more on the terror attack in London last night. But first, we go to Ricky in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Ricky.
Gentlemen, good evening. How you doing tonight?
What's on your mind tonight, Ricky? Go ahead.
Well, you know what? I mean, I was thinking back quite a while back. I remember I was speaking to you, and Mark just brought this to my attention again when he was saying about religion. And I don't know if you possibly remember a good number of months back, there was a show, and the topic was actually prostitution. And I made the point. No, actually, you know what? I'm trying to think. I think Dara was on that night. But the point was that I made the point that it was unconstitutional. And I find it fascinating.
What was the prohibition on prostitution?
Absolutely. The soliciting laws are ludicrous.
Yep, okay. I agree with you.
Yeah, because, I mean, what I love about the moral majority, and there was a caller that night, and that's right, you were on that night. You really got into it with him because And he was a big defender of this. And the reality is, who the hell are Federalists to say what a person can or can't do with their own body? And you know what I've come to the
Well, who the hell is
conclusion of?
anybody to say that somebody can't do something with their own body? I mean, ultimately, prostitution is a couple of things. It's people having sex and people exchanging money. And
Both of those things are legal.
Separately, they're legal,
Right.
but combining them together, you'll get put in handcuffs and thrown into a jail cell and, have
Which
your life
drives
ruined.
it underground, causes
Makes it more dangerous.
Yeah, diseases are much more rampant, and all the problems that go with prostitution are, to a large extent, created by the fact that it is illegal.
Human trafficking.
Right. If I may add one other thing, I'll tell you what this also brought this into my mind recently. Somebody was recently mentioned to me about Jack the Ripper, and I was thinking about Whitechapel. And at that time, I mean, that was
What's Whitechapel?
Where the bulk of the murders took place.
Okay, gotcha.
Right, but the thing was, it's pretty impoverished area. But the reality is, I've come to this conclusion. The real answer at the end of the day is, one, because of the moral issue and the importance when it comes to the religious right, they just can't say it's okay and tax it. And also, I don't think that that's never an option either, because they can't control it. And also, more importantly, no matter what circumstance you're in, male, female, or otherwise, anybody could just open up shop and make a living. Now, if you don't outlaw this, how the hell are you ever going to control people fully? There's always, it would be impossible to have that total control, if that sounds crazy or not.
So you're saying that if prostitution were legal, you believe that's some sort of linchpin to where if prostitution's legal, then they can't control people?
Well, think of it. If all else fails, I mean, everything, and you lose everything, including the shirt off of your back, you still got that.
You're saying if you lose your job or whatever, you can always just go have sex for a living. Well, I don't think it's as easy as what you're saying it is. I mean, if prostitution were legal, then
there's competition.
There would be a lot of competition in the marketplace, and if you're not, a good-looking man, Ricky, I don't know how well you do. Maybe you are a very attractive man, and you would do just fine. But you got to remember, you're going to have competition in the marketplace, and that is going to be an immediate check against your ability to just mail it in and make a living off of your own body.
Said competition is good. Wasn't that his whole answer to help?
Yeah, competition is great. That's why.
Is it the federal government that's outlawing prostitution? Because I don't think it is. This is my argument against the you said it was unconstitutional, but the federal government isn't doing anything about prostitution. Generally, it's state governments.
Well, the feds are investigating human trafficking. But
wasn't it the feds that control
human trafficking is bad?
Aren't they like their bitches?
So, what?
Isn't the state like, the feds' bitches at the end of the day?
Well, but regardless, I mean, the states are definitely attacking prostitutes. Prostitution's illegal in most, 49 out of the 50 states, basically, and so it's still unconstitutional. I mean, if there's the freedom to be able to do what you want in the United States, then it's clearly a violation of that, just in the same way that it's a violation of your freedom to do business, to be able to grow and sell marijuana or any other drug. These are all things that people should be able to do.
And that's another thing then, too, if you think about it. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I find more than not in my travels, when it comes to cannabis or it comes to prostitution, I know from little on up, honestly. I know with prostitution that was the case. I mean, the cops were already kind of fed up with that as a waste of time since I was a little kid. But I know as of late, more times.
I don't know.
than
Not all cops. There's still cops that are investigating that all over the place. Hey, thank you for the call tonight, Ricky. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. There are a few police who have, come out against prohibition of both prostitution and of drugs. They formed a great group called Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, which focused mostly on drug reform for a long time, and they've renamed that group. They've rebranded into Law Enforcement Action Partnership, and they're now taking on additional issues of how the police in the United States should be reformed to be a more responsive, more humane group of people. And they're really doing a good job. Law Enforcement Action Partnership. If you are a police officer and you share some of our beliefs that the war on drugs is an absolute insane war against our neighbors and counterproductive and not actually doing what it sets out to do, If you believe that and you want to see an end to that prohibition, or also ending other prohibitions like prohibitions on gambling or prostitution, there's some good folks that you can team up with there at Law Enforcement Action Partnership. Their website, I believe, is leap.cc.
Ian, there is a television trope of the idea that prostitution arrests and processing is a real sort of perfunctory revolving door process.
It's true.
And I say that because I saw it happen once on TV on a police procedural.
You saw somebody got arrested again?
I saw a line of prostitutes, and they were just being herded through, to sign the papers.
Many of them who've been there before.
Yeah.
I think there's some truth to that depiction. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733, which goes to show it's not helping the prostitutes.
Yesterday, I got a call from the IRS. They say I owe them over $16,000. I don't have that kind of money.
Don't try to fight the IRS on your own. Use Coast One Financial Group and let them help you get a fresh start. If you owe at least $10,000 in back taxes, call now for a free and confidential tax debt analysis. Call Coast One now for a free consultation at 800-643-4661 now. 800-643-4661. That's 800-643-4661.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government. The real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu, 641-793-9660. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial on in here toll-free on this live Sunday edition of the show. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. And you can Skype on in here at Skype username LRN.FM. Tonight in studio, you've got Ian,
Johnny Ray,
and Mark.
Of course, you can join us online anytime. Just go to freetalklive.com. Bitcoin.com has recently reported that Bitcoin transaction fees have increased by more than 1,200% since 2015. To many Bitcoin proponents, the current fee market is moving way too fast, making Bitcoin unusable for certain transactions. I just spent tonight $2 to send a $12 Bitcoin transaction. So it has gone, it's gotten insane. It has been insane for weeks and weeks now. And we're seeing maybe some light on the horizon with Bitcoin, with this new consensus that was reached now a couple of weeks ago that's supposed to be implemented within 6 months to fix Bitcoin. But as of right now, we're still waiting on that to happen.
Yeah, it's 30. The segregated witness is at 32% at this point. Emergent consensus is at 42%.
Yeah, they're basically holding steady. And
Bitcoin.com reported this week that it has been reported. Now, that does not make it so. It has been reported by some expert or whatever that segregated witness may have some patent issues that would make it a real problem.
Well, whatever happens, you can find out the latest over at news.bitcoin.com. That's news.bitcoin.com. Coming up, more out of London. What happened late last night on London Bridge with multiple people being injured by some knife-wielding maniacs. First, let's go to your calls and thoughts. We've got Scott. He's listening in Massachusetts to WBNW. Hey, Scott.
Good evening, Mark and Ian.
Yeah, and Johnny Ray is here as well.
Johnny Ray, good evening. I'd like to discuss with you George Soros. For your listeners who may not be familiar with George Soros, he is the evil genius who was behind the Paris Climate Accord, which is a hoax, and so America did the right thing to get out of it. While we're at it...
Now, hold on a second. I heard about this Paris climate thing. Now, isn't this basically a voluntary initiative that essentially Donald Trump is doing kind of a photo op, basically, by getting out of... I mean, that it doesn't really do anything either way?
I believe that. That's possible. Yes, It could just be PR on the point of Trump. But let's be honest, we're spending billions and billions of dollars. And if it's going to hinder our economy, why not get out of it if we can give Americans jobs? It's just a drag on our economy.
I think that, as far as jobs is not, to me, a particularly good reason to do it. For every coal job that's destroyed, there's a solar job that's created. So, why would that particularly be a reason to do it?
I think we should still get out. I really do.
Without knowing anything about it, I would probably side on getting out of it. I mean, I don't think that the United States government needs to be getting into any agreements with any other nations. They just need to allow people to trade. They need to allow individuals, businesses, people who are in business in the United States to be able to do business with anybody anywhere else in the world that they want to. And I don't think that the U.S. government needs to be having any say whatsoever over any of that. Now, I know that Trump would disagree with that because Trump wants to put in protectionist measures for U.S. businesses, which is, again, opposite of what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the government staying completely out one way or the other. So based on that, I would support getting out of any kind of a world agreements.
We should also get out of the United Nations, the World Bank, and NATO. This is all part of a one.
I think that's a good point.
This is all part of a one world government, a new world order, financed by George Soros, who is an evil international Jewish Wall Street banker.
Now, have they put the New World Order in yet? Is it finally the New World Order? Is that here now, or is it still
here?
Okay,
it's here.
Okay.
It's here.
People have been saying that's coming for a long time.
It kind of seems like,
as I was saying, Soros is a fifth columnist. They want to make America a communist country.
Okay,
We're
hold on,
already
hold on,
a
hold on.
socialist country.
Wait a second. Look, George Soros is 86.
Fifth column. Wasn't that from the show V about the aliens?
I don't know. George Soros is 86 years old. He's
A
going.
fifth columnist is a slang term for a subversive. Those were the days of the 50s
Yeah,
for J.
okay.
Edgar Hoover. It's a fifth columnist, a subversive.
That's right.
But
Who
he's
wants
going
to
to die.
destroy America, bring America down.
Okay, fine. So he's going to die in, short order, right? He's 86 years old. Will your problems be solved then? Because what are conservatives going to do when George Soros isn't around to blame for all the problems? Who are they going to blame
They'll
next?
blame someone else, yeah. Somebody else.
There'll always be someone else to take his place.
Clinton.
Always. You see, let me explain.
No. You got to have.
Soros
He's got to be a
is
billionaire.
He finances this Zionist-occupied government we have. And
Scott,
and what
I gotta have to
look-
cut you short on this one. Your phone is just—it's real kind of crappy.
I could go to another phone.
Oh, could you? Yeah, that'd be wonderful because
wait
be
one
more interested in
moment.
that. So stand by. The toll-free number here is 855-450 free. Like freedom.
You need more of this?
You want to get it'd be nice to have the conversation if I'm not being distracted by the constant crackling in the background.
It's the dropping of these things that don't get addressed. The Zionist occupied, the
well, we can address any
Jewish
of those
banker,
things.
The whole thing is just like every time this is what we go through, but he can't sort of back it up. Right? I mean, okay, so George Soros is a wealthy guy who happens to have been born a Jew.
Mm-hmm.
How very friggin' interesting. When he dies and he's 86 years old, will we then be free of whatever the problem is? And I suspect
he's probably got a son.
The answer is no. Well, his son isn't going to be as motivated to do whatever it is just because,
I'm just saying, you were saying they were looking for somebody, right? Like they're going to
Al Franken. He's Jewish, isn't he?
He's not a billionaire,
I
though.
don't know.
Yeah, but George Soros will just donate his billions to him because he's an influential Jew.
Well, there you go. I suppose that's the next thing that's down the pike. I don't know. It seems like if you've got to find this one guy to blame all your problems on, you don't understand the problems. If you're claiming that there's a new world order and that there's a one world government in place, I'm willing to agree with you as long as you agree with me that government is likely from Washington, D.C. It's the United States government that is basically handing down, dictating.
Hello.
Jeez, good Lord.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hear you well, Scott. So here's
Mark, go ahead with your point there.
Here's my theory. Okay, so there is a one world government, a new world order that's in place, but it's probably not the one that you think it is. That new world order is, in fact, Washington, D.C. handing down dictates about behavior to other capitals of other countries around the world.
Right, people like Victoria Nuland.
I'm not familiar with her.
She's the one who said F the EU, and she engineered the coup in Ukraine.
Okay.
And, well, I don't know what ethnicity she is, but she strikes me as fairly waspy. But she was a State Department of Washington, D.C.
It happens all the Latin American countries. They're constantly getting funding from the State Department, and with that funding comes rules. And this shadowy organization that controls the world.
The Bilderberg Group is meeting right now. Chris Cantwell went down there.
Show me how they do anything, this Bilderberg Group.
Well, that's the thing. You can't. You don't know what goes on in there because they keep everybody out, which is makes for very interesting conspiracy theories, right? Like just by keeping the people out of the meetings, they all want to know what's going on.
It's a pretty failed organization if the one Ashkenazi Jew that was running for office in this go around was trounced immediately by the incumbent player in the Democratic Party. I mean, come on, seriously, Scott.
Yeah, how do you explain that,
How come the Jew didn't get elected, Scott?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you.
I got you, brother.
Yeah. Let me explain to you and your listeners. You laugh about the Ashkenazi Jew. He's just the spearhead of it. Look, you've got the Jews that control Wall Street, the Federal Reserve, the media, Hollywood, AIPAC. You've got the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. The bottom line is that the Jews wield enormous power in the United States.
Then why didn't they get the Jew in office?
Why
didn't they get the Jew in office?
I don't think he's got an answer. Thanks for the call, Scott. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, 855-450.
Looks like the white people have control to me, the Europeans, because that's why Trump got in office, and he was running against Clinton.
855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live. You can join us here on the radio.
For P150, P150GA, P150NY, P150OK, P150TN, C250A, C250E, C250Q. Not available in all states. If New York or Colorado, call for a similar offer.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, call Physicians Mutual Insurance Company, 1-800-972-1059. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away. So you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. Call now for a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-972-1059. That's 1-800-972-1059. 1-800-972-1059.
I love sporting events. The atmosphere, the crowd. I even enjoy waiting in line. Because while I'm standing next to you, the RFID scanner in my pocket is capturing your personal information. From debit and credit cards, even your apartment building key. So you'll still be paying for this game long after it's over.
Every 2 seconds, someone is a victim of identity fraud. This Father's Day, protect Dad from crimes he can't see with ID Stronghold wallets in all Dad's favorite styles. Bifold, trifold, and even front pocket wallets and money clips. ID Stronghold pioneered RFID blocking technology over 10 years ago. ID Stronghold wallets look great and even cost about the same as wallets in most stores.
I'm Walt Augustinowicz, founder and CEO of ID Stronghold. Protect yourself from crimes you can't see with ID Stronghold.
For Father's Day, go to idstronghold.com and get a free mini wallet with purchase of any wallet order over $20.
idstronghold.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, live Sunday edition of the program. You dial toll-free. Join us on the radio waves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. With you tonight, you've got Ian.
Johnny Ray.
And Mark.
Also want to invite you to the Free Talk Live forum. It is sort of an experimental thing. We had for many years the Free Talk Live BBS, which was our forum that was very popular for a time, back before there were social media. The Free Talk Live BBS came about probably in 2003 or 2002, somewhere in that range, back in the very earliest days of this show, and went for about a decade, I would say, a little more than a decade before we shut it down, and decided to shut it down because everybody was people just weren't going there anymore. It was over. It was time to end it.
A lot of forums got killed by Facebook.
They did, and unfortunately, Facebook has subsequently killed any kind of effective communications on Facebook. So now people are without any real significant way to easily communicate, because Facebook will purposefully cripple your posts and make it so you can't reach everybody who you want to reach without opening up a message individually to each person and talking to them directly. So we're going back to a forum, although it's not a full Free Talk Live forum because I don't think there's enough demand to justify that. It's a Free Talk Live sub-forum on the Shire forums, which is a free forum that you can join. Just go to forum.freetalklive.com. There's a thread in there actually by Dunker, who called the show last night. He announced his bike plan where he's bicycling from South Florida all the way up to New Hampshire over the next couple of weeks. He kicked off that trip today, and he is posting updates in the forum thread there that you can find also on his website. But you go to forum.freetalklive.com. You'll find his thread there. And if you are a Free Talk Live amplifier now, and you let me know that you're on the forum, I will give you the new Free Talk Live amplifier badge. So you can get a little Free Talk Live logo next to your name there on the forum. So go check it out at forum.freetalklive.com. As we go to Kelly. He's in Springfield, Missouri, listening to KWTO. Hello, Kelly.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome. Great, you're on the air.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about North Korea.
Sure.
We're at a point right now where the decision really has to come down to, do we let them have the nukes or do we not? And the only way you don't is if you go ahead and you just devastate them. And I'm one of those that just kind of look at this big picture. I'm not sure I trust the government in saying that North Korea is as advanced as they are. I think they're trying, but I still don't believe they're the kind of threat that calls for any type of activity. But I also don't think that these sanctions are worth a darn. I don't think they mean anything.
Sanctions are a terrible thing because they basically prevent people from eating.
They don't prevent the leaders of North Korea from eating. It just makes it rough on the North Koreans.
Right,
and the
Kim
North
is
Koreans,
fat and happy.
Yeah, the North Koreans don't appear. I haven't seen yet where sanctions particularly are effective. When has this group of people who are now hungry and angry risen up, ripped the flesh from the bones of their evil leader, and deposed them and put somebody else in place? Because I haven't seen it yet.
It's getting closer in Venezuela, Mark, to that happening, but in North Korea we would have no idea because there's no media there. There's no way to cover anything that happens. We only know what the North Korean government tells us and what the few people who are able to escape have to say. But I would agree with you, Kelly, on your assessment that North Korea technologically they're not even close to being able to strike anything besides Japan.
No, I don't think they are either. I don't like the silence of the media, though. Barack Obama and Bill Clinton have done a lot to create where we are today with North Korea. They had a chance to do a lot more differently that wouldn't be as devastating as it is right now. 22 million people, South Korea, there have always been people in the firing lines there. But the reality of it is that North Korea is more advanced today, I think, because of a lack of communication. Is he insane? Quite possibly. Are they able to be negotiated with? Maybe. But one thing I do know is if you look at our history back in the Vietnam and the North Korean, South Korean War, and being involved with that, no matter if they were insane or not, they were at a table with a lot of different minds and different people. And my guess would be that if you could get Kim Jong-un and his cronies at a table, the ones who are still listening and who are people who can be reached will be listening. And that's how you get your message back. That's my feeling.
Well, talking certainly is great. I think we would also negotiate with China in order to to allow more immigration from North Korea. Figure out some way to look. Hey, China, if you let those we'll take all the North Koreans you can send. Mm-hmm. They can I don't know, populate the abandoned houses in Detroit, whatever it is. Sure. We'll take, because I mean the problem that China has is basically the problem that the U.S. has along the southern border. They don't want a bunch of immigrants coming, poor immigrants coming across the border, so they'll take them.
Would you agree though that, or maybe not? I mean, think of it this way: if he is censoring all that he's censoring. And there's a good chance that a lot of his people, especially generals, don't even know how close they are to getting pounded by us. And my feeling is that if you can get those people to the table, you can get the message to the right ears,
sure,
those ears will go back, start sharing. And there's a good chance if you want to dethrone Kim Jong-un, the best way to do it is get the people who think they have an opportunity and know the realism of what's going on. And then, see where that goes. And I think that's...
There are probably some people within the military who would like to see themselves in power rather than Kim. Of course, they're also up against the constant brainwashing that goes on in that particular society, where I was actually just watching a video today that I saw on the social media about Yeonmi Park, who is a young lady in her mid-20s who escaped probably about 10 years ago from North Korea, and she goes around on speaking tours, and she's written a book about her experience.
She's very smart.
Yeah, she's really interesting and amazing to watch. Had a horrifying experience and terrible story to tell, but it's one that people need to hear. But she talks about how the brainwashing is very constant over there. They don't have any kind of entertainment. She said there's no movies or TV shows about love or love stories or any kind of entertaining thing. It's all just propaganda about how the Kims are gods. Basically, that's essentially all that they're fed over there. And so that's something you have to go up against. But the big question is how penetrated amongst the North Korean community are these alternative ideas, these ideas that are not state-sanctioned, the television shows and the movies that are being smuggled in on flash drives into the country to give people a window into that outside world where if you get caught with these things, you will be sentenced to prison camps or possibly even death. So, I mean, it's a pretty scary place to try to access this information, but you do have to wonder how widely spread these ideas are, and there's no real way to get a feel for that. There's no way to know.
It's really what the gentleman was talking about earlier that's taking place that's driving us towards war. It's the banking institutions, it's the financial institutions, it's the world institutions that are all linked together. They're the ones that are pushing us to the brink of all of this. And unfortunately, I heard someone say it earlier on your show, and I think it was one of your individuals that are on the show, but they're right. I mean, our government is the one trying to dictate the world right now. And I would just say this, it may shock you because I've already been talking about the other things that make me sound differently than what I'm about ready to say, but we have two choices. And my thing is, if we're not willing to have a dialogue, and we're not willing to do it at all, then to me, you only have the other choice, is to try to take him out, because he is mutilating and starving and crushing his own people. And a lot of those people there, I mean, quite frankly, if what we would do is sometimes not any worse than what is already being done.
Well, the problem is the unintended consequences.
So I agree with you. He's a horrifying individual.
This was the claim with Saddam Hussein.
Saddam Hussein, King Assad, Gaddafi. I can list off over and over and over again the mad dictator that we were going to go in and depose, and everything was going to be peachy keen, and turns out it wasn't.
That way.
And I think that the best instance is, like you said, the negotiation table if you can get them to it. The problem is that North Korea has had a reasonable amount of success with rattling the saber as loudly as they possibly can. And I mean, you're right. At some point or another, the United States is going. The government of the United States is going to make a decision as to whether or not they want to let North Korea have nuclear weapons, and I suspect the answer is no. And I don't. It's going to be terrible.
Kelly, thanks for your call. I appreciate the discussion tonight. Yep, our toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. Join us. Do you need a website for your blog or new business? It can be pretty intimidating on your own, and that's why Free Talk Live has partnered with HostGator, one of the top hosting companies. HostGator offers a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over-the-phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive, user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation back into your hands. Go to HostGator.com/FTL and you'll get 50% off of their regular hosting prices. 50% off. HostGator.com/FTL. You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. HealthExcellenceSelect.com. HealthExcellenceSelect.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at SurvivorMax.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, June 4th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.54 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,272 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.4 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,545. Antiwar.com reports the massive U.S. arms deal with Saudi Arabia signed last month by President Trump is continuing to drive up arms makers' stocks, though at present the exact dollar values for specific companies are a matter of some speculation. Lockheed Martin, long expected to be one of the big sellers, put their figures at $28 billion. Lockheed sales include 150 Black Hawk helicopters at the very least, but the company is also trying to sell Saudis on the THAAD missile defense system and the small but pricey littoral combat ships that the U.S. has been struggling with constantly breaking down. Boeing offered their own estimates on Saudi contracts, saying they believe they're getting $50 billion. This is stated to include both military sales and commercial sales. They did not offer any guidance on how much of the funding was which, nor if this was sales only or includes maintenance deals for the lifetime of the planes. They also offered no specifics on what was being sold. These companies, as well as other well-connected U.S. arms makers, are all expected to make quite a bit of money from the new arms deals with Saudi Arabia, as well as more money off President Trump's planned military spending increases. As the chances of peace suddenly breaking out looks more and more remote, the arms makers are expected to continue raking in money hand over fist. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a military judge in Virginia ruled that a naval flight officer who pled guilty in May to disclosing classified information will spend 6 years in prison. Commander Robert Monahan said Friday that in addition to the time behind bars, with 646 days of time served credit, Lieutenant Commander Edward Lynn will be dismissed from the Navy. He faced up to 9 years in prison. In May, Lynn's espionage charges under the Uniform Code of Military Justice were dropped when he pled guilty to a lesser offense under the Espionage Act. He also pled guilty to failure to report his foreign contacts, mishandling classified information, and making false statements about his travel plans. Investigators arrested Lynn, a member of a covert aerial surveillance squadron in Hawaii, as he boarded a flight to China. They were concerned he was preparing to disclose secrets to a contact. An investigation by NCIS revealed that Lynn's trip to China was a pleasure trip to meet a woman he met online. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports attackers drove a van at high speed into pedestrians on London Bridge before stabbing people in the nearby Borough Market area of bars and restaurants on Saturday in what British authorities described as a terrorist incident. Armed police rushed to the scenes, and authorities urged Londoners on Twitter to run, hide, tell if they were caught in an attack. The BBC cited police as saying there had been more than one fatality. Britain's Sun newspaper said 7 people were feared killed and that 2 attackers were shot dead by police near London Bridge, but there was no immediate confirmation of this. Some media reports said police were seeking another attacker. This attack comes just days ahead of a June 8th election and less than 2 weeks after a suicide bomber killed 22 people at a concert by U.S. singer Ariana Grande in Manchester, England. There was no immediate claim of responsibility of this attack. The BBC showed a photograph of 2 possible London attackers shot by police, one of whom had canisters strapped to his body. A Reuters reporter said sometime after the attack began that he had heard loud bangs near the Borough Market area. Witnesses described a white van veering into pedestrians near London Bridge and knocking over several people. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The entire nation has been transfixed by the emotional saga of missing toddler Aaron Crawford. Police remain baffled by 4-year-old Aaron's mysterious disappearance. The Crawford family is finally speaking out, but it isn't easy.
We're taking it day by day, you know? We just miss our baby so much.
This must be so hard on everyone.
All he does is cry. I hate him.
Little Aaron was last seen in the bedroom he shares with his older brother, Denny. Authorities say he was abducted by an intruder in the middle of the night.
Denny was in the room when Aaron was taken.
Yeah, right here. Now it's just my room.
Denny, can you tell us what happened?
I was in my room. A man lifted up the window and came in.
Were you scared?
Yes, because I thought he was going to take my Xbox.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free here, and you can bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got Skype, so Skype on in at username LRN.FM. When we get a chance, we'll continue with some coverage of what happened last night in Great Britain with the attacks on London Bridge. Innocent people being attacked by car and also by knife. A lot of people, apparently several people dead, and many more in the hospital. It's Ian, Jonny, Ray, and Mark in the studio here tonight. Also, what's the proposal from Prime Minister Theresa May? She wants to crack down on the Internet, as though somehow that's going to have an effect on whether or not people get stabbed in retaliation for military attacks against Islamic State targets.
I guess you could claim that people are getting radicalized over the internet, but then you would have to sort of point out that, hey, you know, the people that did the guy that did the Ariana Grande thing, that they've been reported multiple times by mosques in their area.
Is that right?
Yeah. So, you know, that's bad police work. That's not. That's government bureaucrats not doing their job. Surprise, surprise. It doesn't have really much to do with the internet.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts. We got Stefan in Ohio on Skype. Hello, Stefan.
Hey, guys. How are you?
What's on your mind tonight?
I'd like to talk about intellectual property. Do you guys agree with the concept of intellectual property?
Well,
not as it currently stands, no.
Yeah, not as it currently stands. I think that people generally, so property is property because we believe it is, right? Like, I'm going to go outside, there's a vehicle out there, I believe strongly that vehicle's mine.
You also have a key.
I've got a key that will operate it. But I mean, you know, like I could set something of mine on a table out there on the porch, and
it still should be yours. We believe that it is collectively, all of us.
Right. We would say that it's collectively. So property is a belief to some extent, and people will often, you know, the people identify intellectual works, songs and jokes and ideas and all kinds of things as theirs. So if you and I exchanged an email off air and you told me a joke about some particular news story and I used that joke on air and I didn't, you know, give you credit or whatever, you may very well feel like, hey, that was my joke. You didn't, you know. And
I think there should be a difference between etiquette surrounding ideas and law surrounding ideas. So while it is bad etiquette for you to not credit Stefan for the joke, it should not be illegal. In the same way, it may be bad, you know, etiquette to take somebody's movie or book that they've written and then copy it for other people, and worse, sell copies of that. While some people may see that as bad etiquette, I think that it just depends on their perspective, and it shouldn't be a crime. So I don't ever want to see intellectual property, any supposed violations of that idea, be criminally prosecuted. I don't think that that's in any way appropriate.
Right,
I think that if you have an idea you want to protect, it's your job to protect it.
Right, and it's not the job of sort of the collective law enforcement that's out there to go and seek justice on your behalf. Don't forget the army of diplomats that tromp around the world trying to mince out what's whose and whatever. I mean, all these companies are basically offloading their responsibilities to their intellectual property to the state. And then you know, Mr. Little Taxpayer down here in New Hampshire, has to pay for Sony or RCA or whomever it might be to have their intellectual property enforced. And then you've got these patent trolls that basically make it so that it's incredibly difficult to do business, you know, here in the United States because legislating what is true and false around that intellectual property is so much more expensive than capitulating.
Well, you brought up patents, and you know, I'm kind of in the middle of this issue. I'm sure you guys have heard of Derek Michael Reed.
I don't know who that is. It's not coming.
This is the guy.
I can understand why you're laughing.
This is the guy, Mark. You do know who it is. You just don't remember the name.
Yes.
Daryl showed you an awful website probably within the last week or two.
Okay.
It was a political candidate for the Libertarian Party who was competing with Daryl for the presidential nomination.
Okay.
He looks like the perennially most dorky libertarian that you can possibly imagine, and his website looks like it was made in 1998. It's you know, got like flashing text and American flags all over it, and he is in no way, shape, or form a libertarian. We, you know, basically called him out when he came here to give a speech at the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire annual meeting back in early 2016. And the dude, I mean, doesn't even understand what the non-aggression principle is. But yet he claims to be a libertarian.
How can one be in the Libertarian Party, go to libertarian events for years and years and not
I don't know how many
that?
years he's been going to them, Mark. He's not from New Hampshire, so I can't speak to that.
Okay.
He's one of the candidates who came here to speak in favor of his campaign to try to, you know, garner some support. And I can tell you, he didn't get much support. So why in the world are we talking about Derek Michael Reed? Stefan.
Well, despite him being a bit of a kook, he did come up with a decent argument at a Pennsylvania candidates forum last year where, how would you feel if you spent almost your whole life creating, like, I don't know, like, let's say a gun design, and you can't patent it, you bring it to the market, and somebody copies the same thing and sells it for half the cost?
It really doesn't matter how you feel.
Yeah.
You should understand going into creating things that there's a chance somebody is going to borrow your ideas and build on them and maybe even improve on them.
Right. So this is important. Like when you look at a revolver, revolvers are basically what revolvers look like, right? So you got a single action, you got a double action, and that's what a revolver looks like.
And they've been that way for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, should we be paying the children of the children of the children of the person who designed the revolver?
Mr. John Revolver.
Every time one of these revolvers is bought or used or whatever. I mean,
the children might feel bad if they don't get payments.
There's 4 wheels on every car. Should we be paying the
children of Grog?
Grog or Tharg or whoever made the wheel, right? I mean, yes, I know how people would feel if you make a radical new gun design, but when you come to the marketplace, you can say this is the original Stefan.
That's right.
Right? And you can have a copy of the Stefan made by Ruger or whomever is going to make the gun,
but
or you can
made
have
it first.
The original Stefan, and that is powerful when it comes to marketing.
Sure.
People are going to want that. Now, if they improve upon your design, they make your design better, then expect to be outclassed in the marketplace.
Well, that's definitely a different, thing if they were to come out with my design, make tweaks, and put it out there. But I'm saying, like,
well,
is it going to operate
under intellectual property laws? If they're using your design as a basis for a new design, and under the current laws, they have to license that.
So are you saying it's like, I'm going to use this as an example. It'd be like the Linux, kind of thing where you can take somebody else's distribution, for example, make tweaks, put it out, and nobody cares? It would operate like that?
I think that's pretty much how ideas work. The best arguments I've heard so far fall into the area of prescription drugs and blockbuster movies. That basically...
What arguments?
The arguments are that, look, nobody will make blockbuster movies if we don't have intellectual property because there's so much money that goes into creating a blockbuster movie. But we can see that many of these movies, the blockbusters, make their cost back in the first week, and it's going to be very difficult to sort of distribute and beat that system. If you're making your money back in the first weekend, then big whoop. As far as somebody copying your work. Secondly, when it comes to
there's rampant
drugs.
Piracy. Before we go on a second, there's rampant piracy on the internet, and there's still blockbuster movies being made.
Yep,
right.
It's still going to see them because you can see it in the theater.
Because the kind of person who wants to go and download a video cammed version of a movie where somebody sets up a camera in the back of a movie theater and then records off the projection on screen, with their video camera, the kind of person who wants to watch that is probably not a hot prospect for going out and buying a ticket in the first place. I mean, that's the kind of person who doesn't care about quality. That's the kind of person who wants to just see the thing, even under any circumstances, no matter how bad that particular copy might be. Whereas somebody who actually appreciates the art of filmmaking and the entertainment factor is going to want to go and see it in the proper presentation format. Mark, I know you had more to say. We'll continue here. Stefan, if you want to hang on, we can bring you back. We're talking about intellectual property. This is an issue that libertarians do tend to be divided on, some more hotly than others. So if you want to weigh in, you're welcome to join us here. Or bring up anything you want. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. This is Free Talk Live's Live Sunday Show.
If you're a sleep apnea sufferer who's on the go to your phone, because if you give us a call right now, you'll be able to try the world's first portable mini CPAP device absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. It's the Transcend Mini CPAP, an engineering marvel that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. Its unique design is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. No more dragging around a big, bulky CPAP. Even better, now you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights by calling minicpap.com, 1-800-768-3138. Transcend is FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. You can also add a battery pack that's as tiny as a deck of cards. So now you can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. But don't wait. To receive your 10-night in-home trial, call minicpap.com now, 1-800-768-3138. That's 1-800-768-3138.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-557-0158. That's 800-557-0158. Again, 800-557-0158.
When commercials come on, don't push the button. Instead, listen. Even if you don't sell things for a living, you're still selling in the various conversations and transactions that make up your busy day. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're a job seeker. So take a lesson from Madison Avenue. Often the fewer words, the more effective the message. Like Jiffy Lube, where you never need an appointment, or the Office Max ad that says, you supply the ambition, we supply everything else. How about online ticket broker StubHub.com, the way in when it's sold out, or CyberCupidMatch.com's seductive, go ahead, it's okay to look. How cleverly and succinctly can you distill your message? For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com. I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Join us right here. Toll-free number if you want to get on the radio with us to talk about anything that's on your mind. 855-450-FREE, like freedom, whether you want to weigh in on intellectual property and or the London terror strike that just happened last night. We can get back into that. We still have economics in one lesson to discuss as well. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Johnny Ray,
and Mark.
Let's continue here. We'll bring out more of your calls here in just a moment. I do want to let you know about Dash. If you want to help build a better financial system for everyone, you can join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, private, and easy. Fees are low and transactions are fast, or can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized and run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. Join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to Dash.org and find out why. As we go back to Stefan, he's in Ohio. We were talking about intellectual property. You guys, Mark, were getting into a second point that you had. You were giving 2 examples of some sort of intellectual property.
Right.
thing.
I think that the real clinchers as far as intellectual property go are often blockbuster movies, and I addressed that in the last segment. You can get the podcast by going to, what is it, archives.freetalklive.com?
Feeds.freetalklive.com gets you to our podcast URL, but if you just want to download last night's show, you can just go to the front page of freetalklive.com.
That's right.
There.
And the other one, which is pharmaceuticals. It's like, hey, if we don't have patents to protect the huge investment in research and development that pharmaceutical companies have, then we won't have new, better drugs. Well, best I can tell, having talked to several doctors on this topic,
including Mary Ruward.
Dr. Mary Ruward is a great source, is that, well, they used to have more innovation in pharmaceuticals back when they had less litigiousness and the patents weren't pushed. So I'm not entirely sure that that's even a true statement. It looks like, at least if history is evident, that fewer sort of intellectual property laws surrounding this, fewer lawyers on staff, all these sorts of things, actually makes it better as far as drug companies go. And getting first to market was really meaningful, and companies generally did just fine.
Yeah, then they couldn't rest on their laurels. Once they got first to market, they had to keep researching, keep developing, keep marketing, and stay on top of their game. They couldn't just sit back and say, well, now we got our 15 years? I forget how long the patent process holds out for.
But yeah.
Yeah. So,
are you guys familiar with the saw stop technology?
Saw, S-A-W?
S-A-W, yeah.
No.
It's like
Stop.
a circular saw, and
oh yeah. It's like if you put a hot dog there, the saw will stop without really doing much to the hot dog, right?
It applies a current to the saw blade and constantly monitors the current.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put a piece of meat like your finger in there, then it will change the readings that it's getting from the saw blade, and it will the original
Retract
saw
it.
stop technology would do two things. It would retract it, and it would stick a piece of aluminum in between the saw. And
quickly enough to where it wouldn't chop your whole finger off?
Yeah.
What you could do is you could stick your finger into a spinning saw blade, and it would leave you with a little nick.
Yep. It depends on now how quickly you put your hand into it. Like if you were to fall bodily with like your pressure landing on your hand and to land on a table saw, I don't like your chances.
Yeah.
Right? But it is amazing. If you just see some video of this, it's amazing how quickly it stops.
Saw stop. Okay.
Well, my impression of the inventor is from just my rudimentary experience hearing about his story, is that he is a bit of a patent troll. He wanted to get his technology. He wanted to sell it. I don't know exactly how he wanted to exploit it. He started selling his own version, but he's also acted as a witness in some lawsuits against Ryobi, people who have gotten their fingers, lost their fingers in accidents. He has testified that he gave these companies they had the opportunity to use his technology, but they didn't like his terms, and they refused. So he's helping other folks to sue. And his patent, Bosch came out with a competitor that has now been pulled from the shelves. It's undergoing some patent litigation.
What a shame. So because this guy is holding back on his invention and trying to keep it close to his chest, people are losing fingers.
Yes.
And he's feeling good about himself because, well, he's helping testify in their cases that these companies should have gone ahead and paid him big money.
Exactly.
And now, so everybody has to pay through their, through the nose by by virtue of the fact that the company is going to have to pass on those lawsuit settlement fees in increased prices at the marketplace.
Yeah, and he's who's to say that somebody a year after he invented the stop saw, the saw stop, somebody else could have invented it, but because he did it and because he's the kind of guy he is.
So no manufacturers licensed his technology. It doesn't exist in the marketplace.
There was a competitor that is now it's pending litigation.
Oh, wait, right? You said
what
Bosch.
About him? Where is his technology and who's licensed it?
Oh, he's got his own operation.
So
he has his own saw blade company or whatever, or
he sells a saw called the Saw Stop.
I see. Okay.
So if you want to not lose fingers, you have to get the saw stop, and you
He's
won't
got a
have
monopoly on
the other features that are on the other saws. We can't get all the features on one saw, apparently.
This is the idea of intellectual monopoly, basically.
This guy should have to pay whoever created the idea of a whirling blade with teeth on it. He should have to pay that person for the use.
It's so stupid.
Or the progeny of that person. This is the thing is it goes back and back. I think the best example is the Star-Spangled Banner, the national anthem for the country that most vociferously prosecutes intellectual property laws, is stolen from a British drinking song. And somehow the innovations that existed up into the early 1900s occurred, and frankly on up into the 1980s in large part. They all occurred. We had these great innovations. The world was going along just fine, and then it's like, the screws had to be tightened. The lawyers need their money, and
that's what this is really all about.
That's what it ends up being about. Like, there's a few inventors and photographers and, these kind of people that'll make, a little bit of money doing this stuff, and I get it. But I thought it was fascinating. There was a story, I think it was last year, about a macaque monkey took a picture of a photographer with his own camera. So at that point, who owns that picture from an intellectual property standpoint?
The monkey.
Well, it had to go to trial to decide whether or not the picture. Indeed, it did.
Did the monkey have an attorney?
Somebody represented the monkey, and the monkey. Turns out the monkey doesn't get intellectual property.
That's a shame.
That's frivolous as heck. I do appreciate the perspective,
Stefan, thanks
guys.
for the call tonight. I appreciate the discussion. The toll-free number allowing you to join us here. You can bring up whatever you want. Maybe you want to defend intellectual property. Maybe you are outraged that somebody would say that you don't own the things that you create in your mind. 855-450-FREE. Well, as long as you keep it in your mind, then you have sole control over it. But once you let it out there, good luck keeping it under wraps. It's Free Talk Live.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA pack technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon. Or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
We use cell phones against our heads every day, but now a landmark U.S. government study confirms increased health risks from exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The time to protect yourself is now. The solution is Defender Shield. Proudly made in the USA, Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation emitted from cell phones, tablets, and laptops. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. Use discount code DEFENDER for 10% off. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in EMF radiation protection.
Free Talk Live.
I wish you would have answered the question as to what's the age range. I mean, if two 10-year-old boys are playing doctor with each other, and he was specific that he said it was okay for a boy and a girl to play doctor, which did happen to me when I was that age, but I was maybe 2.5, 3 years older than that girl. Am I a molester? She was the one trying to take my pants off. Should she go to jail?
People like Lou, they get all upset over things like this when they're not even apprised of the facts. And you try to tell them the facts, and since it doesn't fit with their worldview, it doesn't fit with their core belief system, it can't be possibly true that I could have possibly have known what I was doing at that
Children
age.
who are engaged in sex with somebody who's older are being manipulated. That's one of them. And sometimes sometimes that's true.
Absolutely. There's
and
no doubt.
Sometimes it's not.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Hey.
Who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make
Wait
a count. Now.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me.
What am I being detained for? You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free. Join us right here on the radio waves. Live Sunday edition of the show. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, so head on over and you can connect with us there. Skype username is LRN.FM.
So I want to tell you about hope.freetalklive.com. Right now, what we've got going on over there is... this is in Uganda. We're attempting to build an orphanage there, and essentially, building stopped. The last amount of funding I sent over, was used, and they put the walls up, and they need to get, they basically need to get about. It's about $3,000 in order to get the roofing equipment and get started doing things again. So
is the triple matching still an offer?
The triple matching from Cell 411 at getcell411.com and jax.io, the official wallet of Free Talk Live.
I guess that's double matching, but it does essentially triples the
the amount. So whatever you donate, and thanks to everybody who has, people are donating in between, frankly, $10 and $500. But everything that you donate right now will get tripled by those two companies, effectively tripled. So yours is one, then Cell 411 gives one, and then Jax 411 gives one, and then it goes up into three. And I need you to donate. The progress has stopped. And it's not going to start up again until we get enough money to get the roofing materials and get things going, and then we can have the roof over it, and the bricks are protected, and we can begin doing things like electrical and all that other stuff, plumbing, and the things that need to be done in order to have an orphanage so these 40 kids can get a good night's rest so that they can go to school. They did get books, pens, and paper for school, which just started up there in Jinja, Uganda. And I'm excited about that, but I'd really like, the workmen have gone on to do something else, and getting them back is difficult. But I just didn't have the funds. They just weren't there. I think a lot of people are, supporting us in doing this, but they're kind of expecting other people to donate. And now, the reality is that your funds will be matched, but I need you to do the donation. So please, at hope.freetalklive.com, there are multiple ways for you to do it. There's a Bitcoin address. There's a PayPal. There's also GoFundMe. Whatever you need, it's right there at hope.freetalklive.com. Please.
All right, let's go to Troy. He is in Washington State and on the amp lines here. Go ahead, Troy.
Hey, I just wanted to talk about intellectual property, and Mark had mentioned revolvers, and it got me to think about actually many years ago in Spain, apparently the copyright laws were either non-existent or pretty loose, and what wound up happening is several gunsmiths in the area were producing clones of Smith & Wessons and Colts. And, those are big household names. And they were a variety of quality, and some of them were purchased by different militaries in small quantities. But at the end of the day, the big manufacturers survived.
Yeah, I imagine
They're
that
still here.
People probably learned a little lesson in buying these off-brand weapons too. I mean,
exactly.
A gun's often used in a circumstance where it needs to work, and you're gonna want a gun manufacturer who's been, producing and testing for a very long time, rather than somebody who's going in and making something look like one of those. It's important to get good quality stuff at that point.
All right, and then really that's all I had to say about that.
Good point, Troy. Thanks for sharing tonight, man. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Of course, somebody could have used a gun last night when people were getting mowed down by a vehicle and then stabbed to death by a group of armed psychopaths in London, on London Bridge. According to The Telegraph, the attack came out of the blue and out of the night. Beneath the shadow of the Shard, Europe's tallest skyscraper, terror hit Britain's streets again. Shortly after 10 p.m. their time, a white B&Q van being driven at speeds of up to 50 miles an hour mounted the pavement at London Bridge and plowed into pedestrians, knocking them down, and this is an interesting simile, like Skittles, says the writer, Robert Mendick, at The Telegraph.
That's probably talking about traffic cones.
Is that a term for traffic cone over there?
Skittle? Yeah, we had some English soccer coaches, and when they were setting up their drills for us with the little orange cones, they called them Skittles.
Interesting. Oh, thank you for clarifying that, Johnny. Right, because I was wondering if it was some sort of British slang or one of their terms that we don't really use here.
I believe that's it.
Reports suggested some victims were thrown into the water of the Thames below. Others may have jumped in an attempt to avoid the speeding vehicle. The van came to a halt on the south side of the bridge, but it wasn't the end of the carnage. 3 men wielding knives 10 inches long began attacking passers-by, even entering at least one restaurant to attack Saturday night diners. One report suggested throats had been slashed by the marauders, likely to be Islamic State-inspired terrorists, and ISIS has now claimed responsibility for this particular act. Although it had not yet been confirmed in the early hours of this morning, it has since then. One eyewitness spoke of the men shouting, quote, "This is for Allah," as they stabbed indiscriminately.
In English.
Yeah, they were in Great Britain.
No, well, yeah, but I mean, they didn't say Allahu Akbar, right, or whatever in Aramaic. I'm not even Arabic. They said, "This is for Allah."
That is interesting.
That weird?
Are you suggesting this is a conspiracy theory?
I'm not suggesting anything. Maybe the terrorists are assimilating, and now they're speaking in English.
I'll tell you what, when I got in the car this morning, the first thing I heard was Theresa May's speech, and I didn't know what she was talking about. And she was talking about the Internet and how we need to the big Internet companies are providing safe spaces for terrorists. And then I find out what she's referring to, and it's speeches like this that are so disconnected from what happened are what give rise to conspiracy theories. Because I hear a speech like this, and my first thought was that the attack was engineered so that they could sell whatever stupid idea that they got going on now.
This proposed internet restrictions, which we're going to get into that because I've got a story about Teresa's speech.
Hopefully it's just that they've got what they want to do today, and they use whatever bad thing has happened to sell it.
To bring it out.
They do.
Yeah. Not that they actually
put these guys up to it.
Right.
Yeah. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. John is in Kentucky listening on his phone. Go ahead, John. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, I have a question for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Probably about a month ago, Mark and guest Joel were on from, I guess he was from Dash.
Yeah, he does a Dash News. Yep.
Okay, and you guys were talking about cryptocurrencies, and you touched on one very briefly for probably less than 20 seconds, but I was wondering if you could talk about Ripple and any knowledge you might have of it.
No.
The reason you don't have any knowledge of it?
We did an interview back in 2013 with the founder of Ripple. At that time, I wasn't actually on the show. I was taking pictures and stuff, so my brain wasn't engaged in quite the same way. It was done by Brian Sovereign and Stephanie Murphy, who were our hosts that came out to Bitcoin 2013, where we did a remote broadcast.
Was that our first Bitcoin convention?
That was. It was like the first Bitcoin
one in
convention.
San Diego or wherever it was?
It was in San Jose. And other than that, that is the closest touch that Free Talk Live has had to Ripple. And
I don't know anything about it. And
I know nothing. Just nothing about it.
And
other
it's
than
a shame,
it's
too,
centralized.
because it's number 3 or whatever right now in the world's cryptocurrency charts.
It's number 3, and I don't own any cryptocurrency, and I'm a very casual observer of it. But I mean, I thought since you guys paid more attention to that than I do, especially considering it is number 3 right now, that you might have a little bit more knowledge of it than I do.
Yeah, I wish I could help you with that. If you want to continue, if you got something else you wanted to add, hang on. We can bring you back. I mean, we can go do some quick searching and see what we can learn in a moment. But ultimately, I've heard that it's centralized, but I heard that from you, Mark. So I don't know what the basis of that statement is. I can't back it up. More coming up here in moments. Here, this is Free Talk Live. Join us on the radio.
When I get to about 3/4,
when I get down to the bottom, a couple more scoops, it's time to place my order. Dinovite.com.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a big tube of Doggo Suds free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Suds shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds.
Free this week at Dinovite.com.
If it's working, don't quit. DINOVITE.com. We get asked all the time when we're at shows, how do you get your dog so healthy and shiny and glossy?
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a big tube of Doggo Suds free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Suds shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds.
Free this week at Dinovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by, making minimum payments? You should know the credit card companies are tricking you into thinking there's no way out. Credit card companies would rather you didn't know that there are ways you can become debt-free, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. There are debt relief programs that help people like you escape overwhelming credit card debt. National Debt Relief has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $500 million of debt. National Debt Relief has helped so many people they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. You have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Reduce a large portion of your debt now. Call National Debt Relief at 800-314-7417. 800-314-7417. That's 800-314-7417.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You dial in toll-free. Join us on the radio waves and take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype, so Skype on over here at Skype username LRN.FM. If you would like to get behind Free Talk Live, you can do that for $5 a month over at the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And the idea is that you can support our efforts to continue to spread these ideas to as many radio stations and internet listeners as possible. You go to amp.freetalklive.com to get signed up there, and that helps us out, helps us do things like we just did on Friday, where you and I went down to New York City, Mark, where we attended the Talkers Seminar or conference, whatever you want to call it, convention for talk radio business people in the trade, the talk show hosts, the program directors, bigwigs in the networks and things like that. And so it's our listeners who amp the show who send us there, and this was our 12th year going to that event. We've been able to go every year since 2005, thanks to listeners like you becoming amplifiers and helping us spread the ideas of liberty and peace 7 nights a week to radio stations, over 160 great stations right now, carrying the show at various different times throughout the week. We can make that bigger with your help. And you get cool perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only Facebook group, and more. Just head on over to amp.freetalklive.com and the brand new AMP badge that you can get on the new Free Talk Live forum, amp.freetalklive.com. Let's go back to John in Kentucky. You're calling to ask us a question that we really couldn't answer about a relatively popular cryptocurrency called Ripple. That, Mark, you say is centralized, but just according to a quick search that I did here,
says it's decentralized,
this
right?
claims Quora.com. There's a question answer here. How is Ripple different from Bitcoin? And then they go through the similarities, and they claim that both Ripple and Bitcoin are decentralized. So I would say, the best way, of course, to learn about something is to, spend some time researching it. Obviously, Ripple has been near the top of the cryptocurrency charts for a long time. It's at number 3 right now. It was at number 2 several weeks ago. It's been in the top 5 for as long as I can remember. I mean, it's been relatively popular, even though the price per Ripple has never really been particularly high. I think that's because there's a whole bunch of them. Now, is it true that they're not mining new ones into existence? Does anybody happen to know that? Because I get the feeling that there's just a certain set amount of the Ripple, but I could be wrong about that. I don't know.
I thought that they were, and I have to be honest, I just heard about this. I just heard about Ripple like yesterday. And so that's why, I haven't had the time to look into it. So, but that's why I was kind of calling you guys to see if you might know something about it. From what I understand, though, it is centralized, and that even I went back to that podcast about a month ago, and Joel, said that a lot of financial institutions, I guess like banks or whatever, were getting behind it as well.
Mm-hmm. UBS is supposed to be doing that.
Is the Swiss bank or whatever?
I don't know where UBS is. I mean, I just read it in the Wikipedia article. What can I tell you?
And so in some ways, I guess it's not considered a cryptocurrency by a population of the cryptocurrency community. And as far as I understand, they also, not everyone, but a certain number of people in the community don't like it because it is centralized and it doesn't have the anonymous factor to it like a lot of the other quote unquote true cryptocurrencies do. So it sounds like it operates more than just as a currency, where it sounded like, from what I was reading, you could also do things like, change fiat currencies and
yeah, there's other information
commodities.
that, from what I was looking at, there's information beyond currency info that can be sent over the Ripple network, as I understand it. So it almost sounded a little bit like Ethereum in that it has a different properties to it besides just being a currency. It has a currency aspect to it, but that is just one of the things. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just want to interject one major aspect to it that is worth mentioning is the fact that it has $0 transaction fees.
$0? What does that mean?
Doesn't cost anything.
There's no cost there's no fee to transact?
Whatever. There's no fee. Yeah.
Huh, that's unusual. Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like something that's probably worth looking into. Obviously, some people are going to quibble over this centralization question. There's, that's one of the things I just looked for is Ripple centralized or decentralized, and, people are definitely not necessarily in agreement about that. They say here they are more centralized because of all the regulations they're complying with in order to combat anti-money laundering and other know-your-customer type compliance. If you look at their advisory board, it's comprised of many people who are previously in government positions, and this would contribute to their centralized aspect of work. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not running out to go and buy it. But then again, Virgil Viduva over at the Anarcrypt forum on Facebook, or the Anarcrypt group, has said that he wishes he'd bought some because the haters talked him out of it back in the day, and now he's sorry that he didn't.
Well, it certainly shot up in value, but as did a lot of
other ones.
I mean, if you'd have been on Ethereum was like $12 back in over the winter, and now it's at $250. So if you're looking at it from an investment standpoint, we're probably not the place to go. Honestly, what we do is we try to look at the technologies here on Free Talk Live and look at those things and. The community, like for instance, the thing I like about Dash the most is that it has a really vibrant community, and that's going to propel it forward, to my mind. I like Bitcoin's first mover status. I like Ethereum as a platform for creating a great deal of things. But, I mean, it had a big problem with its DAO being hacked like a year and a half ago or 2 years, and a hard fork occurred. So, it's we're in the pioneer stages, and I don't know who's going to get the arrows and who isn't.
Yeah,
but,
who knows who's going to defeat Bitcoin? I mean, Bitcoin is already now behind the ball.
If you're in cryptocurrency for the last 6 months, you've made money.
That's a good point. John, thanks for calling tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Again, people need to do their own research on this. Mark and I, and Johnny Ray, I mean, we're all, to some extent or another, involved in the cryptocurrency world. But
I'll give you my opinion.
Yeah, none of us are have the technical chops to really understand the differences between them. I mean, we can have the basics explained to us, and we can kind of pass along our understandings of those explanations, having been to a number of these cryptocurrency seminars and having had a lot of the creators and the people who are promoting them on the air with us. But ultimately, we've never looked at the code. We don't really know how these things work. We just know the ones that are successful. Those are the ones that are most worth talking about. Because we could spend
really
all night.
Matters because people have had a chance to test it. What you're not going to hear on Free Talk Live is us jumping out and saying, "There's this brand new coin out there. Come on and get aboard." Like. We don't do the penny stocks of crypto because we don't know that much about it. Now, if somebody approaches us, I'll go ahead and I'll give the information that I got from that person, and I'll give you whatever information I got from research. But most of the approaches we've had are from these scammer coins that are trying to get people to get on board with them early on, and pyramid stuff and Ponzi schemes and that sort of thing. And I'm not going to bring that to my listeners other than to say, nope, don't do that. It's a bad idea.
Our toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. We were talking about the attacks last night that happened in London, at the London Bridge, people being mowed down by a vehicle, then 3 men with large blades, 10 or 12 inches long, according to the report at the Telegraph, stabbing people.
Can't you buy a sword in England? I'm just wondering.
Probably.
I mean, I know that they have a real
It's a little
problem
harder to conceal that.
with knives and stuff. They jumped out of a van and began stabbing people.
True.
It's not like you're walking along.
They might have had to walk to the van at some point.
Yeah, well, you could put the stuff in the van.
Yeah, I understand that.
I'm just thinking that if you want to harm people with bladed weapons and stealth isn't your issue, that 10-inch blades are going to pale in comparison to a 30-inch one.
Yeah, but that's assuming that the people you're attacking have a 30-inch blade. If you've got a 10-inch blade and they have nothing, then that might be a lot better than a sword.
Well, okay, so what you rightly point out that a sword is a weapon that is intended to trump a knife, right? Like the longer the guy's, if I've got a 33-inch sword and you've got a 28-inch sword, things are in my favor. There's no doubt, unless you do have long arms. So, there's that issue.
All other things being equal, you've got the advantage.
That's the advantage. However, you can get leverage with a sword. So you can get that big swing. As you know as well as I do that the tip of that sword's going to travel faster than the tip of the knife. And so if you've got the samurai sword for chopping's good for people who are unskilled.
Maybe their budget was limited, Mark. I don't know. More coming up here in moments. Our toll-free number is 855-450. Free like freedom. We'll talk about the proposed internet restrictions coming up in hour 3. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people, exchanging skills and services. From web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, June 4th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.54 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,272 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.4 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,545. Antiwar.com reports the massive U.S. arms deal with Saudi Arabia signed last month by President Trump is continuing to drive up arms makers' stocks, though at present the exact dollar values for specific companies are a matter of some speculation. Lockheed Martin, long expected to be one of the big sellers, put their figures at $28 billion. Lockheed sales include 150 Black Hawk helicopters at the very least, but the company is also trying to sell Saudis on the THAAD missile defense system and the small but pricey littoral combat ships that the U.S. has been struggling with constantly breaking down. Boeing offered their own estimates on Saudi contracts, saying they believe they're getting $50 billion. This is stated to include both military sales and commercial sales. They did not offer any guidance on how much of the funding was which, nor if this was sales only or includes maintenance deals for the lifetime of the planes. They also offered no specifics on what was being sold. These companies, as well as other well-connected U.S. arms makers, are all expected to make quite a bit of money from the new arms deals with Saudi Arabia, as well as more money off President Trump's planned military spending increases. As the chances of peace suddenly breaking out looks more and more remote, the arms makers are expected to continue raking in money hand over fist. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a military judge in Virginia ruled that a naval flight officer who pled guilty in May to disclosing classified information will spend 6 years in prison. Commander Robert Monahan said Friday that in addition to the time behind bars, with 646 days of time served credit, Lieutenant Commander Edward Lynn will be dismissed from the Navy. He faced up to 9 years in prison. In May, Lynn's espionage charges under the Uniform Code of Military Justice were dropped when he pled guilty to a lesser offense under the Espionage Act. He also pled guilty to failure to report his foreign contacts, mishandling classified information, and making false statements about his travel plans. Investigators arrested Lin, a member of a covert aerial surveillance squadron in Hawaii, as he boarded a flight to China. They were concerned he was preparing to disclose secrets to a contact. An investigation by NCIS revealed that Lin's trip to China was a pleasure trip to meet a woman he met online. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports attackers drove a van at high speed into pedestrians on London Bridge before stabbing people in the nearby Borough Market area of bars and restaurants on Saturday in what British authorities described as a terrorist incident. Armed police rushed to the scenes, and authorities urged Londoners on Twitter to run, hide, tell if they were caught in an attack. The BBC cited police as saying there had been more than one fatality. Britain's Sun newspaper said 7 people were feared killed and that 2 attackers were shot dead by police near London Bridge, but there was no immediate confirmation of this. Some media reports said police were seeking another attacker. This attack comes just days ahead of a June 8th election and less than 2 weeks after a suicide bomber killed 22 people at a concert by U.S. singer Ariana Grande in Manchester, England. There was no immediate claim of responsibility of this attack. The BBC showed a photograph of 2 possible London attackers shot by police, one of whom had canisters strapped to his body. A Reuters reporter said sometime after the attack began that he had heard loud bangs near the Borough Market area. Witnesses described a white van veering into pedestrians near London Bridge and knocking over several people. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
An amateur sailor has announced his plans to sail around the world to decrease awareness of important global issues. 29-year-old Michael Gilmer will cover approximately 28,000 nautical miles over 3 months, all the while drawing attention away from famine afflicting several African nations, revolution in the Middle East, flooding in Thailand, and economic instability across 5 continents.
The goal here is to really make people think about a young, overconfident on an expensive boat, rather than the pressing matters of substance that actually affect people's lives.
As Gilmer set off on his journey Thursday, something was happening in Washington. In local news, a cute 8-year-old is beginning to realize how much better she is than ugly girls.
Since I'm cute and they're not, that means that they're not as good as me.
In other news, a slaughterhouse worker is told to stop naming them all. And sure, an area man can watch your cat while his life is falling apart, no problem. You have just participated in a large-scale psychological research study. Please fill out the attached liability waiver and send it to theonion.com/newsbeat.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of this live Sunday edition of the program. Our toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's me, Ian. Oops, sorry, Johnny, tried that again.
Me, Johnny Ray.
Me, Mark.
All right, so for those of you just tuning in, the very beginning of the show, and I guess a little bit in the last hour, we've been covering the London Bridge attacks that happened late last night in London, England. Of course, this about a week, I think, maybe no more than a week or so after the Ariana Grande bombing that happened in Manchester.
England's getting hit hard right now.
And of course, they struck back. The Royal Air Force dropping bombs on targets, ISIS targets, and they, one of the bombs, apparently there was an image that was posted on social media showing one of these bombs from the Royal Air Force, which had on it written, "Love from Manchester." And they then apparently sent that off to ISIL targets in Syria. And so that was supposedly the reason why ISIS responded with the attacks on last night on London Bridge, where multiple people were run down by a van, and then 3 men came out of that van and started to indiscriminately stab nearby people. Even going into one restaurant and stabbing diners in the restaurant on Saturday night.
Yeah, and we certainly addressed in the first hour about Blowback and how terrorist after terrorist after terrorist, including these people, point out that, the intervention by Western countries, France, England, the United States, these come to mind, in the Middle East as their reasons for these attacks. And that seems reasonable to me. Listen to what they're saying and, base your arguments on that rather than just sort of making things up like they're after us for our freedom or they're a bunch of, throwback Stone Age people who have some stupid religion or whatever it is. Those arguments are really unconvincing to me. But I think another thing that's worth pointing out in this instance is. Ian, what was that signal? You gave me the signal, and I've lost my whole brain when you started picking up that piece of paper. Go ahead.
Signal?
Read whatever you're going to read here.
I'm not going to read anything here.
Okay, well, why are you moving that piece of paper around?
I don't know. Moving stuff around here on the desk.
All right, man. Well, I've lost
Staying organized. You were talking about Blowback.
I know. I was trying to get to another point on it, and
it'll come back to you.
Yeah, it's gone.
So if you want to join us here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Well, if they hate you for your freedoms, then they should be thanking the politicians because they are doing the best they can to put a stop to your freedoms. And in fact, the most recent attack on your freedoms is coming from Prime Minister Theresa May over in Great Britain, where she has said that apparently she wants new international agreements to be introduced to regulate the internet in light of the London Bridge attack.
So obviously they're not attacking us for our freedoms because is the United States, is Great Britain, are these places freer than they were before 9/11?
Definitely not.
So what Osama bin Laden said is essentially these governments will clamp down on their citizens, and basically his idea was the citizens would attempt to make their governments get out of the Middle East because they'd had their life was not as good. Turns out that people are willing to give up a whole lot when they're scared. I did think of what it was that I was trying to say, as you can imagine, and basically the these governments give out in Europe, they hand out a bunch of welfare.
Sure. So
and
it's the U.S. government.
I think, but not as much as these countries do. And I think that many times these Middle Easterners will move there with the intention of, living for free on the dole or whatever in whatever country it is that they live in, and they don't have to assimilate the way that immigrants did 100 years ago here in the United States because they don't have to, because they have this subsidization. So the women can stay home. I think it's the women assimilating which is really the key. And they can keep their women at home and keep this sort of Stone Age practice of their particular religion that subjugates women and all that stuff. They can keep it going. In many cases, their women want this, but if they had to get out in the world and they began talking to, working women out there, they'd be like, oh, he treats you like that? I'd never put up with that, yada, yada, yada. And then they're going back and forth, and it's modern. It would modernize these families very, very quickly if they just had to work. And I think this is great. Like, wouldn't it be awesome to go to a place where you could work and make money rather than the place that you had come from where it was very difficult to make money?
Obviously, welfare is a bad thing, and, we don't want to – if you want to help people, then allowing them to get help in the marketplace from charities and things like that, that's the libertarian solution. But I don't think abolishing welfare is going to end terror strikes.
Not immediately.
Because as long as the government's over there bombing innocent people, that's the primary motivator.
The people that are doing this were likely British citizens or people with British the ability to be in England, right? Like they didn't take a boat over from wherever ISIS is in Levant. They didn't get a little speedboat and come on over and then begin chopping people up.
I don't know if they've identified the suspects.
I'm just making a guess. There's a lot of Muslims in Great Britain, and what I'm saying is that those people, those radicals, would be less likely to be radical, if Western countries weren't in the countries that they care deeply about and all that other stuff, and B, if they couldn't maintain this sort of older lifestyle, if economically it was very difficult and they had to assimilate.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I don't think that's going to overcome killing your family members. I mean, if your family members have been murdered by the government in question, I don't think you're really going to care very much whether you've assimilated into their culture, which, as you pointed out, these men allegedly said English sayings about, this is for Allah, rather than saying Allahu Akbar, which suggests that to some extent they knew the language. They were probably, as you said, already over there, which would mean they would have to have assimilated to some extent. But, again, that's not going to motivate somebody to stop an attack if their family members were just murdered in a bomb being dropped upon them. That's, to me, the primary motivator behind a counterstrike like that.
I understand, but you understand that folks on the right who are going to have the biggest problem with stopping, the intervention in this area, their biggest concern is cultural conflict. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to
stop the bombings.
Their concern. Yeah,
first and foremost.
It's going to help a lot.
If you can stop welfare, that's great too. But I would say the first thing you need to do is stop the bombings. Prime Minister Theresa May said introducing new rules for cyberspace would, quote, deprive the extremists of their safe spaces online, unquote, and that technology firms were currently not doing enough. She made the comments outside Downing Street on Sunday morning in the aftermath of the van and knife attack that saw 7 people killed and dozens injured. And Johnny Ray, you said you heard this speech this morning. She said, quote, we cannot allow this ideology the safe space it needs to breed. Yet that is precisely what the Internet and the big companies that provide Internet-based services provide, said Ms. May. She said further, quote, we need to work with allied democratic governments to reach international agreements to regulate cyberspace to prevent the spread of extremist and terrorism planning. Now, this woman probably has no idea how the Internet works. She probably can barely send an email if she believes that there's going to be some way for the governments of the world to crack down on speech on the Internet. There are so many protocols for communicating on the Internet that it is impossible to squash them. It is an impossibility. You can try to block something. You can try to block Tor, the ports that Tor normally uses on your router, for instance. You can try to stop it that way, but they can just change the ports. They can encrypt the communications. They can connect through a VPN. They can do all kinds of things to keep their communications under the radar. I don't know what they're going to propose here. I don't know if she gets into specifics. Johnny, you've heard some of the speech. I don't know if she has any specific proposals here, just besides, we need regulation, and that'll solve things.
Well, Germany, I think, has been trying to pass a law that would make some folks liable for having hate speech content,
on their website?
content on their website for
like
too
Twitter?
long after it's been flagged. And so it could just be part of a general trend about censoring the internet.
We'll get into it more. That definitely sounds like what this is, the beginnings of more internet censorship in more Western countries.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash and help us build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org. That's dash.org. Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews, here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees, no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up, too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days, free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free here and bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. So feel free to reach out to us there. You can comment on the proposals that are really not specific at this moment. I did take a look at the full speech from Theresa May, and most of it is just kind of about what's going on with the attacks and, her pandering to people. But she does get into very little detail as far as any kind of specific proposals for regulating the internet. The story from the independent.co.uk, we'll continue with that here in a moment, about what may be to come. International crackdown on freedom of speech online. That sounds like what she's proposing. Also want you to know about healthexcellenceselect.com. It's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. That's right. You don't actually have to have health insurance in the United States, although certainly the government wants you to think that you do. You can go with healthexcellenceselect.com. They'll give you daily health assessment proactively if you'd like. No charge, 24-hour access to doctors, a medical information card you can give to EMS, first responders, the emergency room, or whatever medical professional you want. You can check them out right now over at healthexcellenceselect.com. They've got access to doctors, including traditional integrative chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and the price. healthexcellenceselect.com. That's healthexcellenceselect.com. Still to come, we've got economics in one lesson that we've been putting off for several weeks now. And, of course, Jonny Ray is here to talk about that. We will take your calls about anything you want to discuss here on the live Sunday edition, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Once again, quotes from Ms. Theresa May. She's the Prime Minister in the UK after last night's late-night attack on London Bridge, mowing down multiple people with a van. 3 men pile out with knives and start slashing and stabbing, cutting throats, apparently. Just sounds like an absolutely horrifying situation. No doubt people are upset. They're going to be looking for a solution, but the government is the creator of this problem in the first place. They're the ones who are dropping bombs on innocent people in the Middle East, the UK and the US governments, and whichever other ones they happen to be allied with at the moment, but it's usually those two as the main two. And they're the ones who are garnering these counter strikes. It's the attacks in the Middle East that have led to this horror, and cracking down on freedom of speech on the internet is not going to solve this problem. But that's what she wants you to believe. She wants you to believe that out there in the dark corners of the internet, these evil terrorists are meeting secretly, and if only we had more regulations on the internet service providers out there, and somehow that's going to stop them from being able to have encrypted chats with one another on the internet. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Can someone point to the terrorists that have used the internet really successfully to, do whatever it is they do?
They say that they use Telegram.
Well, they may very well.
Yeah.
But I'm asking a question.
Which we also use.
So there's 3 people, right, that did this terrorist attack.
Uh-huh.
And they probably met each other and discussed things pretty much in meat space, right?
Presumably.
But
maybe not. Maybe both online. Maybe in meat space and online.
Could be.
It's certainly safer to do it in meat space.
It seems to me that's probably. I mean, they attacked people with knives. I mean, we're not talking about people that appear to be particularly savvy or anything like that.
Well, you're jumping to a conclusion. I mean, a lot of times when these terror attacks happen, you'll see in the subsequent reporting that comes out, the government will say, well, it looks like these people were using Telegram. I've seen it more than once that they're trying to make it sound like Telegram is this terror.
They're using cell phones.
Yeah, well, they're trying to make it look like Telegram is this terrorist tool. And Telegram is just a chat app that was invented by apparently a Russian anarchist, according to Brian Sovereign from Sovereign Tech. But
it has a secure aspect to it.
That's what they say, but the people who are critiques of Telegram say that the security is weak and that it is a joke. So, but regardless, you see it trotted out there all the time.
The foundational technology upon which Telegram is based is cell phones, right?
That's correct,
I mean,
yes.
They don't come out and they don't say, these people were using smartphones to communicate with each other. We must ban smartphones.
That's true. They're not proposing that.
And let's not forget.
They want access to your information on those smartphones.
This was done with a van and sharp pieces of metal, okay? I mean, it's not like hacksaws in the Levant were ticking away on computers to bring down nuclear weapons sites in in Manchester or something like that. These are people with sharp pieces of metal, which has been used to harm and kill people for a very long time here on planet Earth.
Yeah, I have no idea what this woman is proposing here, saying that the big internet service providers are providing safe spaces for terrorists.
They want to crack down on these on internet, and they have for a very long time.
Right.
The internet's the freest place in the world, and it bothers them, so they're going to use any opportunity to do it.
No doubt, and that's why I'm saying I don't know exactly what they're proposing here, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be good. It sounds like whatever it is going to interfere with you and me and other people on the internet who are doing things that are honest or on the up and up, and in the under the auspices of cracking down on terrorism. They're going to make using the internet more difficult, perhaps make finding certain search terms more difficult. There's even a proposal here to restrict pornography. The Conservative Manifesto, according to independent.co.uk, pledges regulation of the internet, including forcing internet providers to participate in counter-extremism drives and making it more difficult to access pornography. So I presume that this May is one of the conservatives. I don't know enough about the UK politics. So apparently restricting pornography is going to somehow help stop terrorism. No, this is just an overarching restriction on the internet that they want to place. They've seen other countries getting away with it. You've got China. You've got Australia. Yeah, that's right. Australia, a Western nation, has internet restrictions. They brought those into place several years ago with claiming that they needed to protect people from pornography. They ban any pornography with women with small breasts because they don't want them to be confused with children or something like that.
It's offensive.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's the camel's nose under the tent. All they have to do is find some sort of thing that they can use as an excuse, whether it be small-breasted pornography or whether it be some hidden terrorist chat room, and then, trot that out there and say, here, this is the reason why we need these restrictions. I mean, look, party's over, people. You had your free internet for a long time, but now we've got these terrorist attacks, and look, you don't want terrorist attacks to continue, do you? So we need to do everything possible to stop these scary terrorist attacks, which means we're just going to have to restrict what you can say online. And ultimately, it's going to result in companies that are big companies like Twitter or whatever. Twitter already has anti-hate speech controls. They will shut down accounts that they consider to be undesirable. So that already happens there. But you're going to see more restrictions like that put in across the board. A lot of these companies are going to go along with it because they want to be in the good graces of the politicians. And ultimately, it's going to do absolute zero to affect any kind of discussion between actual terrorists on the internet. Because they're not going to use Twitter to talk openly about plans.
No, they're going to figure out ways to do it. If they're not using encrypted apps, which, they don't need – it doesn't matter if there's mass-market encrypted apps because they'll make their own. It's not that hard.
Yep, that's true. And there's plenty of open-source encryption out there. They can just copy it from there. They don't even have to program it originally.
They can get burner phones and single-use accounts.
There's more coming up here. 855 450 free. Like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
In these uncertain times, it makes sense to have a sustainable backup method to cook food and boil water. If your current plan includes using a fuel-burning stove or cooking over an open fire, then there's a much better way. The Minuteman Rocket Stove is a biomass-burning cooking stove that only requires small quantities of sticks and twigs for fuel. The Minuteman Stove is easy to use, smokeless, portable, powerful, and sustainable. For the finest in survival cooking stoves and fire starters made right here in the USA. Go to MinutemanStove.com. That's MinutemanStove.com.
Do you know what's lurking in your water? More than 200 contaminants could be sitting there, just waiting for your glass. With a ProPure water filter, start enjoying clean and great-tasting water today. ProPure filters, independently tested, latest water filter technology. ProPure systems do not require electricity and are easy to set up and easy to use. To find out more, visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Tipping. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin tip returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card Bitcoin tip that's easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets and spending, and returns to the tipper if unused. Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, live Sunday edition of the show. You dial toll-free and join us on the radio waves. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well. So Skype on in here at username lrn.fm. The proposal on the table from Theresa May, the Prime Minister over in the UK, is that somehow, some way, they want to regulate the Internet, and that's going to somehow stop terrorists from having meetings online. And what she calls safe spaces provided by the mega corporations that are offering Internet service providing. It's just an absolutely ridiculous statement.
It's like saying if terrorists met in your mall, that somehow you're providing a safe space for them to meet.
And that you should somehow know what every conversation at every table in the food court is at any given moment. You're right. That's a great example.
Or that you should be attempting to find out what those conversations are about.
So mic up all of the tables, hire the security staff to be able to monitor every single conversation.
Right. Or the government would say, well, at least let us do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a crazy proposal, and so far, we don't have anything specific besides just her saying she wants the governments of the world to come together and regulate the Internet, and that's a scary thought.
And we do have some specifics on the Snoopers Charter, which was enacted last year, I believe.
And what is this?
It's in the UK. It's legislation that provides for, let's see, it establishes it requires communication service providers to keep data for a year of all the websites that their users have visited.
Okay. So get a VPN. That gets you around that one. All right.
Virtual private network.
Yep.
Permitted the police and intelligence agencies to carry out targeted equipment interference, that is, hacking into computers or devices to access their data, and bulk equipment interference for national security matters related to foreign investigations.
Okay, they still would have to know something's happening or suspect something's going on in order to hack into someone's computer.
It created a lot of bureaucratic changes. There's a list of there's a bunch of bullet points over here at Wikipedia about the Snoopers Charter.
And that was for the UK.
Yeah, and it just seems like the United Kingdom is sort of a guinea pigs for what they want to try, for what all of everybody on the team wants to try on their own citizens.
It seems like the British citizens will put up with much more invasive government intrusion in their lives.
Right, they've got a gun ban. They've got the CCTV cameras all over the place, millions of them.
Single-payer health care. And they'll argue up and down that that's just the greatest thing in the world. But a single-payer health care basically gives the government the ability to say, hey, you want our health care service, you're going to have to act in this way. Stop smoking, stop eating too many cheeseburgers, don't eat this much sugar, make sure you get this amount of exercise. I mean, it isn't the camel's nose under the tent, it is the whole camel.
Or as we saw in a recent story out of the UK, they'll just decide your baby's going to die because they don't want to pay to fix the problem. There was this kid
they wouldn't even let the baby go to the United States to get medical care.
Yeah, they insisted it stay in the hospital and die there.
Right. This is how thorough they believe in their system, that they own that baby. They decided that baby had to die.
So, yeah, some very scary proposals on the table here. Let's go to your calls and thoughts, though. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. Maybe you support internet restrictions and you want to back up the Prime Minister. Go ahead and give us a call at 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. As we go to the phones to the fun, Sarah is in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hey, Sarah.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that the mayors had a national meeting, and they decided that many of the mayors are making commitments to make their cities more pedestrian oriented and less car driven.
Yep.
So that they feel like they're stepping up in the place where Donald Trump has let down on the Paris agreement. The clean air energy, he backed out of it.
Yes.
So that's how the mayors they're going to make up for it.
So I'm of two minds on this, Sarah. We were just in New York City, which is a place that you cannot argue has a robust public transport system.
Plenty of pedestrians everywhere there, too.
Yep, lots of pedestrians. People are walking. People are taking buses, trains, all kinds of ferries, all kinds of mass transit. Some of it's private, some of it's public, much of it's public. Much of the public stuff was at one point private and then got
the subway.
Yeah, the subway was private at one point and then sort of got, I would say nationalized, but it's not a nation that took it over, but became, owned by the city. I'm not entirely sure what the history is there, whether the city took it or demanded it at a certain price or what they did. And those things are great. It would be really awesome to have, that kind of public transportation that would get me to work, and I wouldn't have to do the whole driving a car thing. And I really love the idea. I think it's fascinating. However, most of the country, public transportation really just doesn't work. It just doesn't get enough people to make it to pay for itself.
They run in the red?
Yeah, it's subsidized over and over and over again. Places have it because they have to feel like, well, we're doing something to make things green, but they're not. They're running all these, smoggy, nasty buses, and people aren't on them.
Well, what I was told was that they wanted to make it more pedestrian-friendly and pedestrian-safer and move away from automobiles. The whole city based around automobiles, where you are, like you said, we're talking about that mall. In order to buy something, you have to drive 10 miles to buy something, and you got to drive back home.
Yep.
That's why the malls are failing. That's why they're building apartment complexes within the mall. They're putting medical centers and colleges.
How are they going to make the
mall.
cities more pedestrian-friendly? Is there a particular proposal? Or is it just a general statement of, we want to do this?
The Oklahoma City mayor, when he was rated one of the most obese cities, he put in 100 miles of sidewalks or wider sidewalks. I don't know what in detail.
and a lot of bike paths.
So they didn't have sidewalks before in Oklahoma City?
Oklahoma City was what she's talking about is absolutely true. It's a NPR runs a story on it, and it's fascinating bit. It's kind of old, but nonetheless, yeah, he
didn't have sidewalks.
He said we're not going to be the most obese city or whatever, and then they made it to one of the fittest cities in America. Yeah, he really by taking responsibility himself for weight loss and for exercise, he was able to sort of transmit that to probably the most rah-rah government supporters out there, and they all lost some weight and got a little more fit, and things were great.
Well, doesn't that justify government intervention then? I mean, if he's accomplished his goal.
I would say that at least half of what he did was personality driven. Like, he did it, not the government did it. So if I decided I'm going to lose that 20 pounds that I need to lose, and I said we're going to do it here on Free Talk Live, and you listeners, we're all going to lose 1 million pounds. And I think that was the number that he set out. And that wouldn't be government.
What I wanted to mention was that what we are doing here is redesigning road. Like, for example, the Ladera Road on the west side, it's going to be narrowed in from 4 car lanes into 2 car lanes with wider sidewalks and bicycle lanes. What they did to Zuni Boulevard,
but
and
hold
what
on,
they're going to do to
Sarah,
Central Boulevard.
That's not sufficient. Putting wider sidewalks and bike lanes in isn't going to do it, because we have towns and cities which are designed around cars. So you've got these wide lawns, and people want a big lawn and a house in it, a single-family home in the middle of the lot, and you can't have that by and have a pedestrian-friendly community at the same time. Generally, there's some arguments against that, but you need basically
what I'm saying
tall
is
buildings full of people.
4 car lanes. I'm saying it's now 2 car lanes on Central
That just
Boulevard.
congests traffic.
People are going to be driving less.
No.
Why would they drive
That's not true. Because the thing is, people have places to go, and unless you live in downtown,
when
you're not going to
when gas prices double, Sarah, the amount of car miles driven barely moves. And that goes to show that people need to drive.
They gotta
get where they're going.
Thanks for the call, Sarah. I appreciate it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, if you live in downtown, if you live in New York City, in Manhattan, or something, someplace where there's everything you need relatively close by, then you don't need a car. But if you live in some place where you have the place where you work is a half-hour drive away, there's just no other option. More coming up here besides taking a cab, which, again, doesn't reduce the amount of vehicles on the road. It's Free Talk Live.
Warning. If you've recently declared bankruptcy, you're going to want to cover your ears, because there's an alternative to bankruptcy, and it could be better than you'd ever think possible. But if you've already declared bankruptcy and have missed this opportunity, you'll want to cover your ears now. Here it is. Right now, the company that has resolved more credit card debt than anyone in the U.S. may be able to settle your debt too. You could resolve your debt with one low monthly program payment. If you call right now and qualify, Freedom Debt Relief will show you how low your monthly program payment could be for free. Call now, 1-800-660-1581. That's 1-800-660-1581. If you're struggling with debt, this could be your answer. And the bigger your debt, the more money you could save. To find out for free how much of your hard-earned money Freedom Debt Relief could help you save, call now. 1-800-660-1581. 1-800-660-1581. 1-800-660-1581.
Homeowners have much more to worry about than just making their mortgage payment. One of our biggest expenses can be when unexpected repair bills hit us at home. Can you afford to repair or replace your home heating system? What about when your air conditioning stops working this summer, or worse, a major plumbing problem or large appliance that just stops working? Well, with National Home, you can say goodbye to repair bills. That's right, if you own a home, you could stop paying for these costly repairs. Best of all, call now to get your home protected and 1 month of repair coverage for free. Just call 800-887-3022. Simply call our 24/7 repair hotline and pay nothing for covered repairs. Get total protection for your home's major appliances and systems so you have no more costly repair bills. Just call 800-887-3022 and never pay for repairs again. Get your home protected against costly repair bills right now. Call 800-887-3022. That's 800-887-3022. 800-887-3022.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Moments remain here. Enough time for you. If you dial in now, you can join us at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, so Skype on in here at username LRN.FM with you tonight. It's Ian,
Jonny Ray,
and Mark.
And we've been meaning to get around to starting doing this chapter in Economics in One Lesson. I think we finally have the chance to get into it here. It is chapter 17, I believe, is the one we're on, about government price fixing, which is kind of what we've been talking about over the past few chapters. This is, by the way, the book by Henry Hazlitt, available free to anybody who wants to read it in PDF form online. So just search for Economics in One Lesson, and we've been doing a chapter-by-chapter kind of book review, book club thing here, and we're way overdue to talk about government price fixing. So previous chapters, I think it was the one immediately previous, they talked about price restrictions. But now they're specifically looking at the idea of restricting prices that let's see here that
they say would otherwise be too high.
So they're holding prices down.
Exactly.
That's what this chapter was about. It's been a while since I've actually read it. At this point, we've been prepared to talk about it for several weeks. And so they go through multiple examples of what happens when you fix a price too low, below the market's normal price that it would set. And we've seen what has happened in countries like Venezuela today when this goes on, because it still goes on today. You set a price too low and the thing's going to sell out, and it's going to sell out fast.
Yeah, it does two things. A low price encourages people to buy because it's something that it's on the shelf. It's something that people want, that there's value to them of it, and now you lower the price, so they're able to buy more, and they're going to want to buy more.
Right. I mean, if you want poor people to have access to it, then you're shooting yourself in the foot by, doing price fixing at a low price, because then people who are middle class and upper class, who presumably are going to like the same thing because people are people, right? Unless this is an undesirable thing, which is then why the hell are you trying to force it on poor people? It doesn't really make much sense. It's just going to cause people to buy more of what they don't necessarily need, and then they're going to get fat or hoard things or whatever.
Yeah, it does the exact opposite of what their purported aims are, which is to make it available to everybody.
Price controls are instituted by people who don't understand economics and supported by people who don't understand economics.
Sure. Well, I mean, who doesn't support having lower prices on the things they want to buy? I mean, the people are going to love the idea of price controls until they finally find out what happens to the marketplace after those have been put in place. And what I thought was interesting was in the second portion of this, not only does he point out that the supplies of the product itself will be depleted.
That's right.
But
There's it attacks this problem, or it doesn't. It screws up in two ways.
It screws up the supplier's existence at all, because like if you've got in any given sector of whatever the product is, let's say it's batteries or something like that. Typically you'll see these controls put in place like during a hurricane. Sometimes governments in the United States will put on price controls and restrict what the
gouging.
Supposedly to stop price gouging, which of course is really just the marketplace responding to supply and demand. And so those things should be allowed to happen, but instead they're prevented. If that were to go on for an extended period of time, if this price control were to be a little more permanent, then you'd start to see and more widespread, right? So if it's only affecting one small area for a short period of time, it's not going to put Duracell out of business. But if what you have happening is there's, let's say, 10 battery manufacturers, and the entire United States puts in a battery price mandate where it's below, let's say it's $10 for a 24-pack of AA batteries, and they make it so it's $5 for a 24-pack of AA batteries, well, maybe there's nobody able to make money on that anymore. They just sell out the stock in the inventory that they already had in the stores, and then the battery companies are like, well, why are we going to keep making these things? Some of the companies that might have been on the edge, maybe not that profitable, just kind of barely making it, they might drop off entirely, leaving fewer competitors in the marketplace to even make batteries, if they're even going to at all, because their profits might have been so significantly reduced that it's not even worth manufacturing for that company anymore. We just saw United Airlines pull out of Venezuela, and there's other companies that have stopped shipping product to that country because of price restrictions.
Yeah, I think that the one area where you can probably sort of, price restrictions generally benefit the bigger companies out there.
Because they can hold on the longest, likely, under a regime like that.
Right, and you drive, when you drive competition out of the marketplace, then they get more of the sort of the gross number of sales.
Right.
So, and then they're able to, just by volume, make money. So in that one way, you're helping big companies and driving out small people out of the marketplace with your price controls, which is the opposite of what anybody who wanted price controls in the first place would say. I would say that they're most successful in areas where you have sort of a like an item, a perishable item. So gasoline, milk, things like this, they're probably most successful in those areas. But think about it for a second here. If gasoline went down to, what's it at right now, $2.25 or something like that?
Yeah, about $2.50.
Yeah, if gasoline dropped to 75 cents a gallon, do you think you'd buy any more gasoline?
Some people would.
And do what with it?
Store it.
You can't store gasoline.
No?
The gasoline's perishable. You could put the stable product in it in order to...
How long does it store for?
6 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Meaning it just stops working or evaporates?
It turns into gooey stuff that messes with your fuel injectors or your carburetor, that kind of thing.
Wow, I had no idea. I mean, I've had gas sitting in a gas can that's been used in the lawnmower here at the LRN.FM studios for probably more than a year.
Did you put the gas in the gas can?
I believe I did.
And you didn't put stabilizer in it?
No.
No, you are doing a disservice to your lawnmower.
Huh, okay.
Your lawnmower is going to need to be taken apart. The carburetor's going to need to be cleaned, possibly the heads, and then it's going to have to be put back together.
I'll be damned.
Yeah. There's a good reason to use stabilizer product.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
The gas is it's gone empty at this point, but I'm pretty sure it's sat around for like a year.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, it'll still work at that period of time, but man, oh man, it's bad news for your small engines.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I bet most people don't know that.
Yeah, most people don't have 2 tractors, 2 lawnmowers, a wood splitter, and the rest of my small engines are escaping me. But yes, absolutely.
Okay.
The chapter goes on. He actually briefly summarizes the problem with keeping a price too low, and then he goes on to say that the government price fixers often see this, and that there are a couple of ways they use to try to address the problem, and then Hazlitt goes and takes those problems down. It takes those solutions down as well. They might try rationing. Food stamps.
Which they do, for instance, with batteries under a hurricane situation. They'll restrict the price, but also restrict the number that somebody can purchase.
The rationing that he's talking about is more in terms of a food stamp kind of a thing.
Okay.
And he says that you are able to by issuing only a certain number of these tickets out to people, you are able to control the demand problem that price controls cause. They will only be able to buy a certain amount, but you're not able to control the supply side of the problem because the manufacturers or the retailers are still have that same disincentive not to produce this product.
Right. Why are they going to keep manufacturing?
Because they're only getting this tiny price in comparison to what they want to charge.
Which what we've seen in countries like Venezuela is one of the things that leads to nationalization, right? So if they say, oh, well, now you have to charge half of what you were charging before for this thing, and the company's basically not making any money anymore, well, they're just going to throw up their hands and say, well, why are we going to do this at all? I mean, unless the government's going to come put a gun to their head and force them to run their manufacturing line, then they have no incentive to do that. They have no incentive to lose money. They're not in business to lose money. So then you'll see, the chance will increase dramatically that old Nicolas Maduro or Hugo Chavez or whichever dictator is going to swoop in there and, for the good of the people, take over the entire manufacturing operation and then continue to lose money.
Yeah, well, I mean, if politicians were good at running businesses, politicians would run businesses. Instead, what they have to do is they have to be politicians and then sell off their favors to the highest bidder. So, yeah, that's ridiculous.
Another trick that the regulators might try is to regulate the cost of production. So instead of saying milk, you must sell milk for this price, they'll go behind the scenes and say milk delivery drivers cannot be paid more than this. But that just creates the same problem in that particular industry, which then spreads to the products that they're trying to keep on the shelves.
More coming up next week, and we'll continue tomorrow night as well on freetalklive.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers, and some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to agoristhosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST hosting.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next.
live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, June 4th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.54 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,272 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 1.